Hey, everybody. We are better late than never. It is Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. I'm Sean,
I'm Kenny.
I'm Jim.
and we are here. Sorry for the late start. It's been a day. Um, got run. Let's just say it was a day, and then I got hit with a snowstorm. So we'll just leave it at that. Um, but we are here, and we're finally going to do the show that we were supposed to do back on December 31st. So this is our 2024 wrap up redo, where we are going to be picking, or not picking, but telling you guys what our best movies, our favorite movies of 2024 are, and our favorite first time watches. As usual, we have Kenny from Kenny's Movie Palace, and we've got Jim from Jim's Movie Channel, and of course, I am Sean from Movie Assault. In the chat, we've already got Mr. Dan, Texas, and we're glad you guys are here. So thanks for sticking with us, even though we're running a bit behind. So
Thanks, guys. Thanks for
thank
waiting
you.
for us.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Happy
We are
2025 to everyone.
Yeah, happy New Year. We're 2 weeks late,
Better late than never.
but better late than never.
When's the cutoff
So,
point to say Happy New Year? I'm making it today because we're back together again. So after
yeah,
today, you can't say it anymore.
I think
Okay.
isn't it officially like the 7th?
Yeah, I think that's like the Curb Your Enthusiasm sketch. You know, you can't say it after the 7th.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. If I don't see a person, since like December, I'll like today. I said, "Hey, Happy New Year," and they're like, "Hey, Happy New Year," So
right.
I guess it
Yeah.
depends on the people.
Yeah. Like if I saw you guys tomorrow, I wouldn't say, "Hey, Happy New Year."
Yeah,
Right.
really.
CTE's kicking in,
Yeah. Hey, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be happy New Year, Texas. Thanks. Yeah, it's just gonna be a very loose show tonight. We will go through our picks. We'll probably do our usual round robin style if you guys are good with that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I used my very what's the word I'm looking for? Available free time today to write down all my stuff. So I'm extremely prepared for today's episode. So I've got a countdown of not only the top 5 of my best of 2024, but also the my top 5 first time watches. And I apologize for my dog who's already starting.
yeah, I got
I'll
those.
say it's loose. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
I got those, and we're still doing a recommendation at the end of the show too, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
cool. Cool.
At this point, Sean's like, I don't care, pal. Just ramble for a while. I'm gonna pass out next to Lori in about 2 hours.
You do kind of look like you just got to, escape from a POW camp or something.
Thanks.
Like you're just about ready to
Thanks.
collapse. I mean, you look great, but you look like you're about ready to just pass out
Yeah.
from exhaustion.
Yeah, I had for those who don't know, I had to drive my wife home from surgery today, and well, I had to take her to surgery. Then she got surgery. I had to wait for her, and then to add insult to injury, no offense, but then we had to drive home in a snowstorm, so that was fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's too cold to snow here.
I wish I could say that here, but it was really coming down for a while. We were going a maximum of like 12 miles an hour on the highway for a
Wow.
little while, so
Sweet
it was pretty
demon.
bad. So
Yeah, and it's not like you guys aren't used to it, so it must have been pretty bad.
No, but you still had the idiots driving like maniacs,
Yeah.
weaving in and out. You're trying to leave like 2 car lengths in front of you,
Yeah.
and then somebody weaves right through. It's just incredibly crazy. So that's why I look like I ran a marathon. It's been a day. So
You look perfect, dude. Don't worry about it. Stop.
You look marvelous.
You
I
look
look
marvelous.
all right. So, congrats, Sarah. That's cool. So if we want to kick this off, did you guys just pick 5, or how many did you guys pick?
Yeah, I picked my top 5, and then I've got 5 top watches. And I mean, and then I've got, a recommendation for the end of the night, but I've got a list of believe it or not, this was real easy for me.
Yeah.
I got 12 movies from this year. 12.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
And out of those 12, 3 of them I haven't seen yet.
Oh.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
it was real easy to come up with a top 5 out of the 8 movies that I actually saw from 2024. Unfortunately, that's how far behind I am. Okay. But I do have some first time watches that aren't, those are all good.
That's
But-
easy.
I actually have 10 of the best ones, and I got 10, and I got a shitload of worst ones that I watched, because I watch every Van Asylum movie that comes out,
Well,
but a lot of them weren't 2024. But
that's
like
just
a
it.
lot
I
of
didn't
them.
really watch a lot of new movies this year. I found myself catching up on older movies or rewatching movies, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and I didn't really realize how much that was until I did my list, and it was like, oh my god, I haven't watched anything.
Yeah, because if you go to especially like when you go to your channel, Mr. Dan, Stewart's, Neil's, Sean's, and all of a sudden they'll bring up 3 movies from the 80s or 70s or something like that, and it's like, oh, you got to find that one, So a lot of them they were new to me this year, but they weren't new in 2024, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to include first time watches on the show, because that's the nature of what we do. We watch a lot of older movies.
Yeah.
And I tended to go to the theater a little more last year because I had that Regal Unlimited. So I would take a chance on stuff, less I would go to mystery movies and stuff like that. But I dropped that for this year, so that's probably not going to happen in 2025. But I knew, with the first time watches stuff, will be, we're always revisiting old movies. And this year I got some doozies for first time watches. I mean, movies that when I mention them, you're going to be like, you've never seen that before.
You're going to hear an alarm. Okay.
Yeah.
That's our fire. I live 2 blocks from a fire department. So that's our volunteer firemen going, there's something going on. So get your asses out there. So please,
Yeah, I think all 5 of mine, the alarm will probably go off. So, yeah. All right. So let's jump into this since we're already running behind. So I'll go first with my my 5th best of 2024, which is a movie that I really didn't expect to see, much less enjoy. But it was a movie called Love Lies Bleeding. With
I've heard
Kristen
of that.
Stewart.
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard good things about that.
Yeah, Kristen Stewart, Katie O'Brien, and Ed Harris, directed by Rose Glass, who did Saint Maud, which I did not see.
I didn't see that either. I heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it, but I haven't seen it. I went to see it on a whim. I was up in Chicago for the Days of the Dead convention, and there was a theater right outside of my hotel, so I could just walk over there and see a movie if I didn't have anything else to do. And that was playing, and I said, all right, I'll go see that. But it's got a great musical score. It's got great visuals. The plot is full of oh shit, what now moments. You never know what way it's going to go. Ed Harris is in it and he's great, but actually Kristen Stewart, surprisingly enough, is better than he is.
Wow.
And Katie O'Brien is absolutely stunning in it. She was in Twisters, but I saw that after Love Lies Bleeding and I didn't even make the connection that it was the same person. So I guess that means that she did a great job acting, because I didn't even realize it was the same person. But it's just a completely bonkers movie, totally fun. People who complain about woke movies, they're probably going to hate it or be against it because the 2 main characters are gay,
right?
The horror. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was just going in blind, which was the key to most of these movies that I saw and really enjoyed. It really made it special going in, because I had no clue what I was getting myself into, and it was totally cool. So that's my number 5.
Cool. I'm going to check that one out because I know it's on Max.
Is it?
And I've got Max.
Okay. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, cool. Okay, Kenny, go ahead.
Oh, okay. My number five best movie, The Beekeeper with Jason Statham.
Nice.
I really enjoyed that one. I mean, it basically talks about you know, you get those spam callers from India telling you, to go to Target to get gift cards and then send them to them. And basically, what happens is, Mrs. Huxtable, kills herself because she's over like $1 million. They've ripped off $1 million, and Statham happens to work on her farm as a beekeeper, but he's got a special set of skills to take them down. So, and I'm a big Statham fan. So
Yeah.
I thought this was like one of his best movies that have been out since Spy.
Spy's a really good movie.
Yeah, Spy's a very fun. And I just like I'm lying. I did like Wrath of Man too.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie.
But Beekeeper I thought was terrific. I really enjoy that, and that's like one that you can rewatch over and over again.
That was a pretty big hit for him too.
Yeah. That did $142 million worldwide.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was pretty good, especially right now where movies other than superhero movies don't make too much money.
Yeah.
So
or musicals or cartoons.
Yeah. So I really did enjoy. I really did enjoy that one.
I didn't hear what you said, Sean. What?
Oh, I said or musical cartoons.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's a musical cartoon and it doesn't have South Park in the title, I'm not interested.
Yeah. Mr. Dan said Statham has another one coming out. I did see the trailer for that, and that does look good too.
Yeah, Statham's awesome. I've liked him ever since I saw him in Snatch, years ago. I had no idea he was going to turn into, Mr. Action Star, but yeah, I loved him in Snatch. Still do.
Yeah, did you guys have to turn on the subtitles to see what the hell they were talking about in Snatch? Because I could not understand what they were talking about.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I was talking to Carlos the other day on my little chat, before we went on, when we were doing like what we do, before a show, just bullshitting, I asked him about that. I was like, there's certain movies like Train Spotting and Snatch and movies with real thick Cockney accents or, whatever. I said that I have to watch with subtitles until I get used to it and I go, is the flip side of that when you're watching an American movie with like thick Southern accents or, and he's like, there are times where they'll be watching a movie like Deliverance or something, with somebody with a real thick Southern accent or using that Southern drawl where they say it's a little bit difficult to pick it up. And it's like, I never thought of it, but yeah,
That's crazy.
You can tell like on some of our our friends that are over in the UK, they all have different accents.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? And I think that's like
he was explaining that to me too. He was saying like
really weird.
Like Stuart's from this area, Roy's from this area, he's from this area, and even though England is such a smaller country compared to America, it still has different dialects, for the different parts of the country, which makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So, okay, my turn, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, my number 5, and again, I didn't have a lot of movies this year, but I think the 5 movies that I have are all really solid. Unfortunately, my number 1 movie, the physical copy, is out on loan because when I told my sister about it, she immediately snagged it on Sunday to ease the pain of the Packers getting their asses kicked by the evil team that shall remain unnamed. Kenny. I see your go Eagles. Yeah. My number 5 is Dune Part 2.
Oh, good one.
Oh, wow.
Denis Villeneuve, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya. You know who's in this movie. I really enjoyed this. I like the old David Lynch one for what it is. I mean, I watched that movie theatrically when I was working there. Thought I was having a fever dream, but I enjoyed it. And when Dune Part 1 came out, I watched it and it felt like half a movie because it is a half of a movie, but it's the way that it's supposed to be done that David Lynch didn't get the opportunity to do back in the 80s. And this finishes that chapter excellently. It's To me, it's kind of a cheat. It's kind of like Kill Bill. I don't consider Kill Bill two movies. To me, it's just one movie broken into
Mhm.
two parts. It's exactly what Dune is. Okay, it's just one big movie broken into two. But again, I didn't see a lot of movies this year. And when I went through my list of 8 that I actually saw, that I own, that was number 5. So Dune Part 2.
Excellent.
That's a good one.
I have not seen that yet. I saw the first one. I have not seen the second one yet.
Yeah, if you like the first one, you'll like the second one.
Yeah, I did like the first one, but like you said, it felt like half of a movie. It felt
Yeah.
incomplete, and it was
Yes.
hard because I haven't read the book, and I'm not familiar with it, and I never made it through the David Lynch movie, so
Oh, okay.
I don't know how the story ends, and I
Then
don't.
you're
know
really
what's
going to
happening.
enjoy it. You're really
So-
going to enjoy it.
Yeah, so I want to rewatch the first one before I watch the second one because I saw the first one theatrically, and that's the
Oh.
only time I've seen it. So
That's a good idea. That's
Yeah.
a good idea. If anything, try to watch them back to back with like no gap in between if possible, and so that
Yeah.
way it's just a 4.5, 5-hour movie if you can handle
Right.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just going to say take
You
an
own
afternoon
RoboDoc,
off.
so you can handle it.
right.
What, Kenny? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say take an afternoon off because
Yeah.
it's a long one.
Yeah. Cool.
Excellent. All right. Number 4. My number 4 is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Very good.
With Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, directed by George Miller. It's not as action-packed as Fury Road. It's still worth seeing. Unfortunately, nobody seemed to see it in the theater, but I did, and I thought it was well worth it. I think that's really the way to see it.
Yeah.
I always love the way that the Mad Max movies always have the repurposing of old technology, quote unquote, old technology, which is, the stuff we use now, in ways that, you don't think of or wouldn't think of them being used in the quote unquote future. And there's a lot of that in this movie. But the one thing that was unusual for this, the other Mad Max movies were all standalone. This one leaned so heavily on Fury Road. It felt like it depended on it a lot more. So I think that might have turned people off. But if you liked Fury Road and you want more, Furiosa is that movie.
Absolutely.
And I think Anya Taylor-Joy did a great job. I don't know if she was filling in for Charlize Theron or what. She made the role her own, and Hemsworth was just having a blast being a villain.
I thought the
hammed
little
it up.
girl was fantastic.
She was too. Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Both versions of her
Yeah.
were great.
So great.
Yeah. Hemsworth was just having a blast. So, Mr. Dan said Furiosa was great in the theater. Absolutely. That's the way to see it. If you didn't get that chance, I feel bad that for those people who waited to see it at home, but
Like me.
it's
Like
sorry.
Like me.
But I just don't know why it didn't hit. And that's the big mystery of 2024.
I have a couple theories involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. First and foremost, because people knew how it was going to end, because it's a prequel
True.
to Fury Road.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And number 2, Mad Max isn't really a main character. He does a little cameo flash in it. Okay. But even though Furiosa was the main star of Fury Road, people didn't know that going in. They thought it was a Mad Max movie, and it's not.
Right.
It's a Furiosa movie. Okay?
Right.
So I think because they knew going into this one that it was going to be her story going in, let's face it, we got a lot of toxic assholes in this country.
Absolutely.
That if there's a female lead or it's a movie about a female or whatever they automatically, it's going to be a piece of shit,
Yeah.
I think a lot of that had to do with it. And again, I think the main thing was because it was a prequel. People knew how it was going to end,
Yeah, it's a good point.
The only prequel that got away with that shit in modern history that I can think of is Rogue One. And the reason why, it says Star Wars in the title.
Right.
That alone will guarantee 100 million opening weekend.
Right.
So, but no, great pick, Sean. Excellent.
Yep.
Pick.
Thanks. Kenny?
All right, my number 4 is Juror Number 2 by Clint Eastwood.
That's surprising. I thought you didn't like that.
No, I did. I watched it. I watched it again.
Oh, okay. Because the first time you watched it, you said you were underwhelmed.
The first time I watched it, I was really underwhelmed. And then I knew what was going on in it. Okay. And I just thought the acting was a lot better the second time that I watched it than the first time. that I watched it.
Fair enough.
So after second viewing of it, I'm like, I gotta really change my opinion of it, because the first I'd say like 35 to 40 minutes of it, they try to steal the 12 Angry Men format, where they go around and he's the only I'm not going to spoil anything. The young new father is basically the only holdout, on sending this guy to jail, for life. So basically, they just go and they talk about it, and then they start reworking his part in it, the juror's part in it, and I just found that really fascinating. And I thought the acting was really good in it after the second time I watched it. And it was just like, because the first one I had, I think I told you, Jim, but I was like really underwhelmed by it. And then when I came back for the second time, because I couldn't sleep. It was like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, you know what? Let me put this on again. So I watched it, and I really enjoyed it the second time. So that was the fourth best movie last year for me.
Cool. Yeah, because when we did our New Year's Eve, when we filled in,
that's it. Yeah,
Sean dropped out. You had mentioned that you had watched it, and I think you referred to it as like a Law and Order episode.
Yeah,
like
it was
a procedural.
It did
and
play
you were
out
underwhelmed by it, so that's why when you said it was your number 4 pick, that's why I was kind of shocked. But hey,
it did.
There are movies that the second time around they hit you a different way. I mean,
and
Hereditary was like that with me.
Oh, okay.
The first time I watched Hereditary, I was very underwhelmed by it. I thought Toni Collette was great, but the movie itself didn't do anything for me. And then I watched it a second time, and it hit me like a brick. And it was like, oh my God, this movie is great. So I get it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Now I might actually check it out, because from what you were saying, I wanted to see it. And then you were like, it's like a Law and Order episode. And I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to see it.
Don't like, please believe me. I have like really terrible taste in movies. So it's
I know I've seen some of your recommendations.
Yeah. So it's 7 Samurais of Death or whatever the hell.
Jazz Singer.
Snow White and the 7 Samurai.
Yeah. So but
I didn't even watch.
I did watch this recommendation though.
Yeah, you're never gonna live that shit down, Kenny.
Oh no, I'm not. And it was funny. I had about like 5 other movies there. I'm like, that just sticks out like a sore thumb.
I've got Dirty Dancing hanging over my head like a shadow. You've got 7 Samurai of Snow White over you like a Grim Reaper following you. Eventually, we're going to find out what his kryptonite is.
We'll find out, and we'll use it against him.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Patrick does not like Hereditary. Ooh.
Yeah, I get that a lot on my channel. There's a guy over in the UK who calls it artsy fartsy bullocks. I mean, I think that's the quote. And again, I get it. A lot of people don't like that movie. I didn't like it the first time I watched it. So
yeah.
Okay. My number 4, right? Yeah.
Yep.
My number 4. Whenever we do these ranking lists, for some reason, me and Sean are always on the same wavelength. Furiosa.
Nice.
Everything that he said, it came right out of my mouth, with the exception of I saw it theatrically, because I was one of those idiots who didn't get to see it theatrically. As a matter of fact, the very first time that I ever did anything with you guys, when I was the guest, we were talking about Furiosa. I said I wanted to see it, and unfortunately I didn't know if I would get a chance, and that's when you told me it was coming on Max. And I watched it like 2 days later and bought it a week later. And yeah, I love it. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I think Chris Hemsworth is actually my favorite thing about it. I mean, I love the whole movie, but Chris Hemsworth is so over the top. And that friggin' prosthetic nose.
Yeah.
I mean, it just...
schnoz.
He is... I mean, you could tell he's having the time of his life, Yep. And it's so much fun to watch. I mean... He definitely was having more fun doing that than he was that last Thor movie.
Absolutely.
No screaming goats in that in this movie. So, you know, but yeah, like I said, everything Sean said, I totally agree with. Furiosa was a blast. Number 4 for me.
Yeah.
All right. Terrible pick. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Well, you have no idea how hard it was when you said, you know, you're number 4 for me to go and see if I can get the fireworks inside, but it doesn't look like I can anymore. The fireworks are gone. Happens to a lot of men my age.
Yeah, Mr. Dan says Hemsworth's whole crew was great in Furiosa. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That I don't know. It's making me want to watch it again because I've only seen it once and it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's
All right.
a lot of fun.
Number 3.
Number 3.
My number 3 for 2024 was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Excellent.
Of course, with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, directed by Sean Levy, who did Free Guy, which I wasn't really that big of a fan of. It was interesting, but this was all on the shoulders of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
The chemistry of them, you know, they obviously enjoyed the hell out of themselves. And of course, the cameos are top notch. The plot was trivial. It doesn't even matter what the plot was. I don't even remember what the plot was, but the movie was it was hilarious. The MCU definitely needed a shot in the arm, and that was it.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours of me laughing in the theater, and I loved every minute of it. And I couldn't care less what it was about because it was still fun. It was, as Exodus put it back in the day, it was good, friendly, violent fun. So
yes, absolutely.
So that's my number 3.
Great pick.
Nice.
Have you gotten around to seeing that yet, Kenny? Because I know the last time we talked, you hadn't watched it.
I haven't. I haven't.
Yeah, you'll really enjoy it. Especially, you don't have to be a comic book person, okay, or a comic book movie person. But if you're more or less familiar with at least the X-Men movies,
okay. Like I watched both of the Deadpool ones, and I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan. So
this movie is really just a love letter to those Fox X-Men movies and that whole universe of movies, you know, that they did back, you know, the Fantastic Four, the Blade. I mean, all those movies from before.
Sorry, Texas.
Before Marvel took over. What, Texas telling me?
You said shame on me.
Oh,
sorry, dude.
Deadpool. Yeah,
I talk to my uncle every day, and he'll go, "Hey, did you watch this show?" And I'm like, "No." So he's like, "Well, you got to get on it." So like I told Sean, I watched Night Agent. I like streamed through that, so I have something to talk to my uncle about. Then he's got me on Landman now, so I'm on Landman now. So it's like I'm trying to watch.
Trying to watch the one with Billy Bob.
Dude, that show is great.
Oh yeah,
highly recommend that.
Okay,
I've only seen one clip, and it made me laugh hysterically. Where Billy Bob's daughter, he asks her if she's having sex with her boyfriend.
Oh, wait till the second episode. Wait till the second episode. Billy Bob, little sidetrack like we always do. On this show, he has like a John Hamm is like the big tuna of this oil company that he works at. Okay, so he has like a mansion that like the oil riggers use. Okay, so Billy Bob lives with this guy who's like a big guy that's always like greasy and stuff. And then he works with an attorney and lives with an attorney. All three of them live there. Well, Billy Bob's daughter comes in after the breakup with the boyfriend and lives there with him. So all of a sudden, the big fat guy, he's like drinking like vodka and orange juice like at 8:00 in the morning, you know, when they're about to go on the road and stuff like that. And he strips down and goes walking upstairs, and they have like one of those showers like with the bench and stuff. And he's been out in like that Texas heat where it's like 95 degrees. Well, all of a sudden the daughter walks in, and she's very nice looking. Takes off all her clothes and gets in, and she starts to yell, "Rapist, rapist, rapist!" Comes down and he finds it was him, and he goes, "Can you lock the fucking bathroom door? Can you lock the bathroom door?" So he's sitting there, and she goes, "But Daddy," and the attorney goes, "So that's what she's calling you now?" And he goes, "That's my fucking daughter." And he's like, "Oh, And he goes, "Now I know why you smoke 3 packs a day."
Yeah, no, I only saw like one 30-second clip from that show, but it made me laugh my ass off.
Yeah, and it's from the guy that
'cause
does like
Yellowstone, and
yeah,
Tulsa King,
Yellowstone,
Oh,
yeah.
is that
all those.
Taylor
Tyler
Sheridan?
Taylor Sheridan
Yeah.
or whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
she's
a
like,
really good show.
he's asking his daughter, he's like, I'm assuming that the two of you are having sex, but are you at least being careful? And she's like, well, of course, Daddy. And he's like, and she goes, he's not allowed to come inside me, but he can come anywhere on me or on my face or in my hair. I'm so happy we could have a talk like this. And they're like sitting in the stands of a football game, and he's just got this look on his face, and finally he's like, I'm gonna go get a Coke.
That's actual dialogue too from that show too. I was
Like I said, it's the only thing I saw from that show, and I laughed my ass off. I thought that was awesome.
That's fantastic.
all right, my number
and that,
3.
folks, is why we're rated explicit on Spotify.
Yeah,
and
sorry, I
Apple
gotta ruin everything. I gotta ruin everything.
No, that's fine. That's why we're rated that way. It's totally cool.
We're all adults here.
We're all adults.
That's true. My number 3 is the Christopher Reeve story.
Great
movie.
movie.
Exclusive on Max.
I watched that the other night.
That was so great. I mean, I heard they're making it available on video soon. I don't know.
It's going to be on CNN, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just a beautiful story. It really it literally made me cry sitting there, especially like the home movies with the kids. And, yeah. Yep. So
me and Dawn both cried. Me and my wife, we both cried.
That was a tough watch. And the kid and his kids are like really strong, and to see what happened to his wife, passing away and stuff like that. It's just like, so that was the third best movie I've seen this year.
Yeah, I didn't even put that on my list, and I should have, because that's a really good movie.
Yeah,
very good movie.
That was on my list to watch, but I have not seen it yet, and I was going to watch it on Max. I just haven't gotten around to it.
I wanted to see it, but what really pushed me to see it, believe it or not, was Kenny. You posted when you first watched it, the day you watched it, as a matter of fact, you were dropping little comments in our little green room, guest room or whatever, and you mentioned something about you found out that Neil Diamond wanted to play Superman.
Yeah.
And I even made a joke about it. I was like, look up there, up in the sky. It's Neil ruining Superman.
It was like they even go through.
And then the Schwarzenegger thing is what got me.
Yeah.
The guys like some studio head wanted Schwarzenegger because he had the body for it, and he's like, "Yeah, truth, justice, and the American way." Hilarious.
They go through the people, like they talk to James Caan. About
and
then they had
none of them were interested, but they wanted these big names,
they actually go through, because they have the producers and the casting director on there, and they actually talk about what was going on and stuff. And
it's a very, very good movie. Lots of information about Christopher Reeve. I had no idea, and I'm a Christopher Reeve fan. So you'll like it, Sean. You'll really like it.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Thank you, though. I can't wait to see it.
Okay, my number 3. Now this one, it's kind of like your number 12 pick, Kenny. Okay. The first time I saw this movie, I was underwhelmed, and it stuck with me. And I watched it again, and now I love it. And it is Alex Garland's Civil War.
Yep.
I think my problem with it the first time around is it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting, I think, what everybody was expecting, Trumpers and anti-Trumpers, different states going at it, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't do that at all. It's not about that at all. It's about these journalists that are just, you're along for the ride while they're trying to get to Washington to interview president. You don't know what political side he's from. You don't know anything about it. And that was my problem the first time I watched it. Yep. And I shouldn't have, because again, I should have went in with an open mind, but more importantly, I got a journalism background. That's what I was going to study to be originally.
Wow.
And when I watched it the second time, that part of my brain clicked. You know, as a journalist, what would you be like on that type of thing? And it was like, I was like, holy shit! I just appreciated it on a whole different level. And the scene with Jesse Plemons, I believe is his name, the guy that's married to Kirsten Dunst. Oh my God, that scene is terrifying. Where he's just, so you're from America, huh? What part of America? You know, blah blah. Oh,
yeah. What kind of Americans are you?
I mean, it's just cold-blooded shit, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, because that movie stuck with me so long after I watched it the first time, it had to make this top 5. So yeah, that's number 3.
Good one.
Awesome. Yeah, I had the same problem. I went in expecting something else, and I didn't get it, and I let it affect my opinion of the movie. I have not watched it a second time, but I didn't take it. I didn't tell people not to see it. I just told people don't go in like I did, because there's a good movie there. I know there is, but I went in with the wrong expectations.
Yep.
And
that's exactly what I did the first time around. And like I said, I'm glad I gave it a second chance, because it's a very good movie.
Yeah. There's a lot of moments that stand out in that movie. Like the shopping scene too.
Yes.
That whole town scene.
Where she's standing there in the dress and she's looking out.
Yeah.
Oh, chills, man.
Yeah.
Just see everything looks all normal, and then in the distance you see a guy on a roof with a gun. You know, just
and the girls telling her, "Smile. You have a pretty smile. Smile."
Yeah.
She's like, "Look, oh yeah."
Like I said,
I literally got goosebumps here.
Yeah. Like I said, it's one of those movies. It sticks with you after you watch it.
Yeah.
It does. It just does.
Definitely. Alrighty, number 2. My number two. It's funny that you mentioned on Furiosa that there's a lot of toxic assholes out there, because one of the themes that I've put together for this list is that my list is completely dominated with female-oriented films, which is really weird for me. But it just happened this year. But my number 2 film is I Saw the TV Glow, which was directed by Jane Schoenbrunn, I think is how you pronounce. She also did a movie called We're All Going to the World's Fair. The movie starred Justice Smith and Bridget Lundy Payne, who I know from Netflix series called what's it called? Atypical. That's where I know her from. It's about an autistic kid, and she plays his sister. But this is a movie that I didn't expect to enjoy. I saw the trailer I shouldn't say I didn't expect to enjoy it. I didn't expect to love it like I did. I saw the trailer on Love Lies Bleeding, and I thought, oh, that looks really interesting. And they marketed it as a horror movie.
Yeah.
It is, but it's not.
It's not.
Yeah. Did you see it, Jim?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And it's definitely a movie that's not marketed to me or my audience at all. But it stuck with me, and I got really got like a real emotional jolt out of it. But it's really more than that. It's about living in denial of who you are, trying to suppress yourself. And like the best movies usually do, it just sort of stuck with me, and it had me thinking about it a long time after it was over. I don't know that I could really sit down and tell you exactly what it was about even right now, because there's so many different ways you could talk about. I mean, you could give the surface level. Oh, they watched, they met in high school and they watched this TV show and they got nostalgic about it, and then met later in life and things weren't the same. But that's not quite what happened.
No.
So it's really hard. There's a lot of levels to it, and the musical score is fantastic. It just hit me and came out of nowhere. So that's my pick for number 2 of the year.
Nice. Yeah, my problem was kind of like with you with Civil War. I was expecting a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
and it's not to me. I
No.
mean, I can see why some people would lump it in with that, so to speak.
Mhm.
You know, with some, I don't want to go into it if Kenny hasn't seen it. You know, I don't want to spoil anything for him or
Right.
anything, but there are elements that I guess you could say would fit into that genre. It's a very well made movie. I agree totally with you about the score. I think the score is really great, but like with you with Civil War, because I think I was expecting something else, it didn't quite hit for me. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I was underwhelmed by it. It's a movie that I would probably give a second chance to.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest. So
yeah, I went in with zero expectations, and I with
which
some
is
of
the
the other
best way
movies.
to do any
Yeah,
movie, you know.
I walked out of it, and the end of it, the last 20 minutes or so, just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, and I don't want to say what those are, but
right.
you know,
You don't want to
it's like, holy shit.
Well,
I'm gonna give it a second shot.
Akers agrees with you. He said Oscar for that one.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Oh shit. Sorry, I'm completely not paying attention. Yeah, Akers, thank you.
Yeah.
To the current speaker, yes, that was a good movie. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, we got good taste, Akers.
Yeah, Jim doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He watches a bunch of shit.
No, that's left for me.
All right, Kenny, what's your number two?
My number two is already brought up, and it's Civil War.
Okay.
I love
awesome.
It. Yeah, that's my number two. It's I was totally that scene like really stuck with me and I thought that Kirsten Dunst, that was the first movie that I thought, man, this girl's got some acting chops. I really thought she was going to get nominated for like at least a Golden Globe this time.
Yeah,
you
she
know,
was great.
for that. I thought she was great. And that scene, even after watching that scene where she's standing in the dress, you know, and it still kind of haunts you, especially with what's going on in the world today, you know.
Yeah.
With that, and it's just like it doesn't not leave you. So that was the number two, and thank you to Sean for the suggestion.
Sure.
On that one. My top, my 1 and 2 are Sean suggestions. Thank you, Mr. Alf.
Nice.
Oh, Mr. Elf.
Oh, yes.
Nice. Okay. My number two has already been mentioned as well by Sean over there. Deadpool and Wolverine. This was the most fun I had watching a movie this year, without a doubt. It's my favorite comedy of the year because it's a superhero movie, but at its heart, it's a comedy, and it's a hilarious comedy. I know a lot of the fanboys don't like it. You know, those fanboys, they bitch about everything, so fuck them. What it really is, it's a love letter to the Fox superhero movies. It really is, because Disney bought out Fox, and Fox no longer exists. So really the plot is it's just a love letter to that part of history, so to speak. And the thing that surprised me the most about that movie, outside of the obvious, you know, the cameos and this and that and the other, which I want to talk about, but Kenny hasn't seen it, and I don't want to.
Oh, dude, you can talk about it.
No. There's a couple of things in that movie that even if you know they're coming, you gotta see them firsthand. I mean, there really is. There's so many great Easter eggs in that movie. But the thing that I will say that surprised me the most, Hugh Jackman, who is always solid. He's always a very good actor. Okay, and he's always been very solid as Wolverine. Okay, in those movies. Okay, his performance in this goofy ass juvenile movie is 1,000 times better than it should be. He is unbelievably great in this movie. If he wasn't wearing a superhero outfit in this movie, that performance is Oscar nominated worthy. It really is. I
think you should have got one for Logan.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And I'm saying he's just as good, if not better, in this movie than he was in that movie, believe it or not. There's scenes in this movie where it's like, holy shit, man, Hugh Jackman is really going there, for this goofy ass movie. I mean, I'm telling you, Kenny, you will really like it. It's much better than it should be, in my opinion. I loved it. So yeah, number 2. It was number 1 up until a week ago.
Oh, okay.
And we'll get to number 1 when we get to it.
Looking forward to number 1 now.
I think I know what number 1 is.
Yeah, I think you do too. Okay. Now, before we go to our number 1s, are we going to go to number 1 or are we going to do our top 5 watches first?
That's a good idea. Let's do our top 5 first time watches. That's an excellent idea, Jim.
Thank you very much, Sean. Give me 30 seconds. I need to go grab a bottle of water.
Okay. All right. I thought you started watching Deadpool and Wolverine.
I watched I got it from my guy Joe, and I watched the first 15 minutes of it, and I liked it, and I never turned it back on again. It was just it's the thing is I have so much going, like different movies and stuff like that, and like especially when I get talking to my uncle, I'll get talking to him, and he'll go, hey, because he always calls me Jones Boy. He's like, Jones Boy, did you watch this movie yet? I just got done watching it. You got to watch it. So in order to carry a conversation with my uncle, like, later that day or the next day, I got to watch the movie. So I got to basically stop what I'm doing and watch this. So I got something. Hey, did you watch that yet? I gave you a day. It's like, dude, it's like 10 hours long. Well, you got nothing to do during the day. You watch that.
You got no life. Watch this shit.
So it's basically, I'm not lying to you. I have CDs.
Oh, geez.
They're like all my uncle's recommendations, and I have them crossed out which ones I've watched already. He goes, yeah, it's on what is that called? Netflix? Yeah, Netflix. Yeah, Netflix. He calls it like the neti pot that you stick.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like the neti pot.
He's like, yeah, put that on. It's on there. And then he's like, yeah, it's got that broad from what's her name? And then he's yelling for his wife, Irma, what the hell is that kid's name? What? And Irma's like yelling at me, I don't know. And then he's like, oh, you'll find it, Jones Boy, you'll find it.
Nice.
So that's basically a 25-minute like conversation with my uncle, and then we start talking about the movie. He goes, yeah, I didn't really care for it, So why don't you have me watch it?
So he can commiserate with you.
Yeah, but I love my uncle and I love talking to him all the time. But it's just like he gives me like all these movies to watch, and it's like when I give him something, he goes, "Yeah, that movie really sucked, Ken. You gave me." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the 10 other ones that you give me." Then he doesn't give you a movie to watch. He gives you like a 3-season. Like he said, "Yeah, there's a show on the Netflix, Marco Polo." So I look it up. It's 3 seasons, 10 episodes each season. And he goes, yeah, try to fit that in today. So like 30 hours worth of stuff and I'll be on the phone with you at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
You're propped up like Malcolm McDowell in Clockwork Orange with your eyeballs propped open.
That's why, like, sometimes, like, I swear, that's why I watched the Juror number 2. He had me watching this show, and I'm like, I can't get into this crap, like this. So I'm like, I was still on Max, and I'm like, oh, let me put that. Oh man, the shit he has.
Be your own man, Kenny. Be your own man. Watch what you want to watch.
It's something for him to talk about, other than me yelling about the Eagles and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
Sorry
All right.
about that. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, thanks for killing time so I could go fight dehydration.
All right, my number 5 best first time watch of 2024. Get ready for the alarm. Was Big Trouble in Little China.
Wow.
With of course Kurt Russell and Kim Cattrall. I can't believe it's taken me till 2024 to see it. I could have sworn I watched this back in the 80s. I thought I had, and I sat down to watch it again for the first time, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I've never seen this. I've never seen this movie. This is
Wow.
completely new to me. So either I watched it and completely forgot it, or I suffered a head injury between now and then. I don't know what happened. But man, is it fun. And
Yeah.
Russell is a complete idiot in it, and it's
Yep.
fantastic.
Yep.
The plot is completely off the wall, but that's what makes it so fun. I really need to watch it as soon as possible again, because I'm way behind everybody else in quoting it and knowing what happened, because it hit me like, where have I been for the last 35 years?
Yeah.
It's just an amazing movie. It's so much fun. And I just can't believe it's taken me this long to watch it. You're going to hear me say that for every single one of these movies.
I'm
But-
anxious for your list now.
Yeah, me too.
Wow,
'Cause all my stuff is new
Woo!
for the
That's
most
awesome.
part. So
Yeah.
No, Big Trouble was a huge flop at the time.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it, theatrically, more or less in an empty theater. And people, I could literally hear people during the movie going, "What the fuck?" Because it's so weird.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't grasp the idea of Kurt Russell being the idiot sidekick.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting him to be the hero, and he's not the hero of that movie.
Uh-uh.
Dennis Dunn is,
Yep.
But yeah, that movie is so much fun. And
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, the dialogue and the acting is so over the top. And it's like, no,
It's
that's
supposed to.
very specific. It's supposed to be like a throwback to the old 40s dialogue where
Mm-hmm.
they would talk real fast, and
Yep.
stuff. That's the whole point of that movie. But yeah,
Yep.
I'm glad you finally got to see that movie,
Oh,
Sean. I'm
that
glad
was,
you
that
enjoyed
was
it.
so much fun.
The
Oh.
lipstick gag cracks me
Yeah,
up
Jack
every
Burton,
time.
me.
Great pick. Okay,
All right.
Mr.
My number
Jones.
5. I just got done watching this the other day, and this was another. It was up for Oscars, and I never got a chance to watch it. The Irishman.
Oh,
With,
wow.
With
Scorsese.
the Scorsese movie. I watched it. Yeah, I heard all these people going, "It's too long." I loved them. I loved it. I sat right through it. I got up once to go to the bathroom. Men of my age do that now. So it's like, but other than that, I watched it right through. I didn't have any problems with it. I know they say like the CGI and stuff, but I was so captivated with the story,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that I didn't really care about, seeing them age, de-age. It was like, I didn't care. I thought the story was like phenomenal. So yeah, thank you, Texas. Irishman was great.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
got
I
the,
really enjoyed that.
I got the Criterion Blu-ray of that.
I came close to buying that when you guys were telling me about 2 other movies this week, and I didn't get it.
Well, I bought it originally because at the time we didn't have Netflix, and it was the only way to see it.
Mhm.
And I was so furious at the time that it was a Netflix movie and that it didn't get much of a theatrical release because of who was involved with it. I'm a Scorsese nut. And so when they released it, of course, Criterion, everything's so goddamn expensive. That Christmas, I happened to get a gift card. So I
Nice.
was like, sweet, I know what I'm buying this year, and I did. I bought that. And I think it's a really good movie. I don't think it's top tier Scorsese, but I think the main reason that is the CGI. The de-aging is a little dicey, and it is distracting to me, and that's what keeps it from being a great movie, in my opinion. But it's a very, very good one.
Yeah, see, I was really captivated with the story,
Yeah,
and
it's got a great
and
story.
I just didn't like, because it's like, I know what De Niro, I know what Pesci looks like, and stuff like that, but
Plus they changed De Niro's eyes color. He had contacts. I think that's actually what threw me
see,
off.
being colorblind, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
So,
that's actually what threw me off more than the de-aging was they put those contacts in and his eyes changed color, and I was just like, this is weird, man. I've been watching this guy for 50 years and he don't look like that, So.
Yeah.
okay,
That might be on my best first time watch of 2025, because I have not seen it yet.
Yeah, no,
But
it's a solid movie.
Yeah.
It's
I
good.
I did get the Criterion though. I do have it, so
Yeah,
I'm ready.
No, it's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, they had it for
Awesome.
$22 on Amazon, and I came close to buying it, but I bought something else instead. And I'm like, oh well, I can wait. I'll wait on that.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, my number 5 first time watch. My 5 list. 2 of them are bootlegs.
Hey, as long as you can watch it, I don't care about
That's right.
bootlegs.
The first one is one of the newest movies added to my collection. It was originally a Hulu movie, and there is no physical release for it, unfortunately. And that is David Bruckner's Hellraiser, the new Hellraiser movie. This came out on Hulu a couple of years ago, but I hadn't seen it until earlier this year. And we got Hulu for the first time at the beginning of this year, and I watched Prey, which I also bought, and that one. And yeah, I like Hellraiser a lot. I don't think it's as good as the original 2 movies, but I think it's just as good as part 3, and I think it's better than all the other pieces of shit sequels that I've seen. So yeah, for what it is, it's worthwhile, and I'm glad I finally, ordered from Hong Kong and got a $12 bootleg. I didn't check, but I don't think the credits on this one are the same as Knives Out like they are on that other one. No, so we're good on that. But yeah, Hellraiser's number 5 for me.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to check that one out yet. I do want to see it.
Yeah, again, just like Furiosa, a lot of the fanboys were bitching because Pinhead is a woman.
Right.
And it's like, who gives a shit? I mean,
right.
Yeah. But no, if you've never seen it, Sean, you'll like it.
Okay, cool. Texas likes it too.
Yeah, Texas got excellent taste.
Alrighty. All right, my number 4 first time watch for 2024. A little movie called The Abyss.
Wow.
You are a fascinating man.
I am about Big Trouble in Little China. Holy shit.
Yeah, I have a confession to make. I saw bits and pieces of it because when I was managing movie theaters, it played there, and I saw bits and pieces of it. I never saw it from the beginning, and so I was always afraid I was going to ruin it, or I had ruined it because I saw the end before I saw the whole movie. So once it came out with the 4K remaster back in March of 2024, I finally sat down and watched it from beginning to end. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought the entire cast was great. And then I read some of the stories about how James Cameron pushed everybody in it to the point of, madness, basically. But he got some great performances out of them. The visual effects, I think most of them still hold up to this day. I mean, some of the technology might be dated, but I think the visual effects as a whole still hold up pretty well. The only problem I really had with it was the end, which I think I watched the theatrical version. I didn't watch the director's cut or whatever the other cut is on it. But the ending is kind of a cop out after 7/8 of a great movie.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was just an experience to watch, and watching it in 4K was really, really fun. So that's my number 4.
Cool.
Now, before you go, Kenny, let me ask you this, Sean.
Yeah.
Because The Abyss came out the summer of '89, which you said you were working there. That was the summer of the underwater disaster film. That was Leviathan and Deep Star 6.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see those other 2?
I did.
Or have you seen those other 2?
Yes, I have.
So out of the 3, the only one you didn't see was The Abyss.
It was The Abyss. Yep.
Oh, man.
Texas never seen it either.
I'm sorry.
Here's the funny thing. I went to the theater to see Leviathan with the girl I was dating at the time.
Uh-huh.
I saw Deep Star 6 maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and then saw The Abyss last year.
You saved the best for last.
Yeah. It's just the way
funny.
I am.
That's funny.
Just wait. There's still 3 more.
Oh, I know.
I can't wait.
I cannot wait. I don't even want to say the rest of my picks. I just want to hear yours.
My number 4 is a movie called Upgrade.
Great
Oh
movie.
yeah, that's a great movie.
I just actually Sean was talking to me about
Yep,
that.
that was the action movie.
Yeah,
episode.
and I was like, I gotta check this out. Wow, did that blow my mind? And it was such a good. It was a well done movie. It was just like
Yeah.
it was really really good. I really recommend that one if you guys haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, I own it. I own
Okay,
it.
yeah, I really enjoyed that. So that's my number 4.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thanks.
Yeah, Dawn just got that thing put in her back, about a month ago or whatever. And I keep telling her, she starts hearing voices telling her to do this and that, man. Let me know so I can run. Excuse me. Okay, my number 4 is another streaming movie that I discovered on Hulu at about the same exact time that I watched Hellraiser. And it's one that I included on that underrated action show that we did. And it is Boss Level.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah,
directed by Joe Carnahan, starring Frank Grillo, Naomi Watts, Michelle Yeoh, and Mel Gibson.
Yep.
And it's literally a video game brought to life, and it is so much fun. So yeah, that's my number 4.
Cool.
Awesome. I remember you mentioning that, and I put it on my list. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's
But
a lot of fun.
definitely
And I
want to
believe
see
it's
it.
still available on Hulu. I believe.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right. My number 3. Going back to excuse me. Going back to 1957. 12 Angry Men.
What? Wow. Holy gosh.
Wow.
A little movie starring Henry Fonda, Lee Cobb, Jack Klugman, Martin Balsam,
Yeah, one of the greatest casts of all time.
E.G. Marshall. But the thing is, I read the short story like in my freshman year of high school. I knew the story, and I think that's probably what kept me away. But it doesn't matter. This is a great film. From the first frame to the last, every shot, every performance, it's just absolutely worth seeing. Everybody in that room, and that's the thing that I thought was awesome, is that they never really leave that room, and everything about that is electric. It's just a fantastic movie. I put off seeing it for far too long. I did go ahead and get the other version that was, I guess, on TV, the 90s version.
That's good too.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of recommendations for that. I haven't watched that one yet, but 12 Angry Men, watched it on the Criterion Collection version.
I think we watched that in school.
Yeah,
I'm positive I watched that in school.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. We went one of those things where everybody in the room in our freshman year would like read a paragraph. We would just go around the room. So I knew the story, so I think that's why I put it off. But man,
I watched that. That was one of our. We read the book and then we watched the movie in history class. And then when I seen Jack Klugman, I kept on thinking, Sam, it was murder, because Quincy was on at that time,
Right.
So I just kept on thinking, it's like, I'm not going to get Oscar Madison here, I'm going to get Sam. That poor guy.
Yeah, did you notice that movie? I mean, as it goes on, as they're delivering the camera, it like very slowly starts moving down as the movie goes down, because it starts off all high angle stuff, and by the end of the movie, it's like
and the
big time
close-ups.
I mean, it's so effective, and it's not flashy. You don't even notice it until you're noticing it. You know what I mean? It's such a great movie.
All right. Well, my number 3 is a little movie. If Mr. Dan's here, he'll be proud of me. I seen this movie called Enter the Dragon.
Wow.
Never seen it before. and Mr. Dan was doing his martial arts, videos on there, and he recommended this box set with Bruce Lee, and it wasn't on there, so I got the box set that he especially got.
Mm.
Okay, and and then after him saying that, he goes, "Oh yeah, but Enter the Dragon's not in that one." So I got it on DVD. Man, that movie rocks. I
Yeah.
love that movie. I got
Yeah.
it. I think I got it on like Go Peachy for like $4 on DVD because I didn't know if I wanted to, keep it or not. Man, that movie is so good. John Saxon's a real asshole in it.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good. So that was like a real blind spot for me. Was because I did watch the other Jackie Chan movies, but I had never seen only probably the greatest one ever, and Enter the Dragon. But yeah, that's number 3 for me.
Well, now that
I
you've seen
saw
it, go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to
Go
say
ahead.
that I saw back in the 70s, I think, or early 80s on HBO, and I've seen it multiple times. I have the 4K of it now. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's
good.
Great.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Now that you've seen Enter the Dragon, Kenny, now you can watch Kentucky Fried Movie.
It's
the only film where Bruce Lee used his real voice. I did not know that.
Wow, didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. My number 3. This one I never heard of until I was listening to Quentin Tarantino's podcast that he does with Roger Avery. It's called the what is it called now? I forget. I don't know. Video Archives podcast. But they bring like 2 or 3 movies together and they discuss them. And this is called The Light at the Edge of the World from 1971.
Wow, never heard
it stars Kirk Douglas, Yul Brynner, Samantha Egger. It's a pirate movie. And it's based on a Jules Verne novel. This movie kicks ass, man. This movie kicks
What's the title
ass.
again?
The Light at the Edge of the World. It's a Kino Lorber title.
Okay.
And
Jules Verne. Okay.
It's based on a Jules Verne novel. And like I said, it's 1971. Kirk Douglas, Yul Brynner, the guy from Fernando, what the hell is his name? The guy from The French Connection. Fernando Rey. He's in it. But basically, Kirk Douglas is a lighthouse keeper at this little tiny island out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. And one day, Yul Brynner's pirate people show up and basically just massacre everybody on the island and take it over.
Oh, wow.
And he has to, and they take over the lighthouse as well to lure other ships in. And he has to basically, it's a one-man army basically going up against these pirates. And it's rapey, it's violent, it's bloody. It's a PG-13 movie from 71 that it would definitely be rated R today. It's really good.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, by all means, check it out if you get a chance. It's really good.
I will check
Kirk
that
Douglas,
out.
I think, is one of the producers of it as well. I mean, it was one of his passion projects back in the day.
Cool.
I've never heard of it.
Cool. Check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. I don't like pirate movies. That one's really good.
Interesting. All righty. My number 2. This one might not surprise you as much as some of the others, but it might. It's Pan's Labyrinth.
Ooh.
Oh my god! At least you went and you've seen these movies now, okay? So,
right.
It's all good.
Yeah, I put together a watch list of some movies that I really needed to see, and I've been trying to cross them off my list because I know there are some gaping holes in my filmography of things that I haven't seen. Obviously directed by Guillermo del Toro. It is not what I expected it to be at all. I thought it was going to be like a lighthearted fairy tale.
No.
Yeah, great movie. Just don't watch Crimson Peak. Okay. I haven't seen that either.
Oh,
but,
don't. That movie's a slog. A
Okay.
beautiful slog, but it's a slog.
Okay. Good to know. But yeah, the story, the visuals, and just the brutality of the real world juxtaposed with the fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm already overdue for a rewatch because it was over a year ago that I watched it. I actually watched it in January of 2024. So I'm starting to forget things about it already. So I need to rewatch it already. But when I saw it, I just was completely floored by it. I ran out and I got the 4K of it immediately because I knew I'd be rewatching it over and over and over again.
Beautiful movie.
It's just amazing. Just an amazing movie that just sort of hit me right in the gut. Yeah. Yeah. And Doug Jones, the guy that does the Fawn, he doesn't get enough credit as an actor for some of the work that he does. And I watched a movie called Men in Suits, which is a documentary about men who wear rubber suits and do acting and stuff like that. And I learned a lot more about him from that and this movie from that. But it still didn't put me onto this movie as far as what the subject matter was. But it turned me on to Doug Jones and things like Hellboy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, amazing movie. And still not my number one. Would have been had I not seen number one. So
Gotcha.
Can't wait to see what number one is. All right, my number two is one that you boys told me to watch, and it's called Train to Busan.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It was like right after I got done done the show with you guys. I watched it, and I cried like a little bitch. Let me tell you, I was sitting here bawling, crying. That movie gets all the feels, hate, like literally you're sitting there. If you have any kind of feeling, especially towards these characters that you've watched for an hour and 40 minutes or something like that, and I don't think there's a wasted moment in that movie either.
No, it moves.
And it's just like, it's so good. And thank you guys for recommending that. Cause I would have, cause it's like, I'm not too much with like I'm just getting into horror. So if they say like a zombie, kind of thing, if it's not Michael Jackson Thriller, kind of thing, but man, after you guys, I even thank you guys for telling me about that movie afterwards, because I thought that was so good. And then there's another one, you said a sequel to that, right?
Peninsula.
Yeah.
I have not seen that one.
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't either. Okay. I just picked it up cheap.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, Train to Busan. Thanks, Texas. Thank these two guys, because they're the ones that told me about it.
Yeah, that movie makes me cry every time I watch it.
Yeah.
It just does. It's so good.
It's intense. Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Dan says Light at the Edge of the World is on Plex for 2 more days, so you can watch it for free.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mr. Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Okay, my number 2. It's the oldest movie on my list, and I got this as part of a birthday present from my good friend Carlos over at Eastwood for Life Fan. He sent me a big box of Westerns for my birthday. And
that's awesome.
This movie I didn't actually watch until about a week ago. And my God, this movie's fucking awesome. Franco Nero and Django.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that.
Oh my God. This movie kicks ass. I mean, I've seen Django Unchained, of course, and that movie's kind of an homage to this, but it's really not, but
right.
All you need to know, Kenny, is Franco Nero is a badass who walks around with a coffin and a gun. And just
okay.
That's really all you need. It's so good. Franco Nero is such a badass in it. And yeah, if you're watching, Carlos, thank you again, buddy, that for gifting that to me. My mother's already watched that movie like 3 times.
Oh wow.
It's just
awesome.
It's awesome. So yeah, Django is definitely top 5. It's number 2.
Cool. All right. Now I can't wait. I'm going to sit back, grab my water, and I can't wait for Sean's number 1.
Yeah, I should go grab my drumsticks real quick,
Yeah, here it is. Well, one of the things that I said that I wanted to do last year was watch more westerns, and so I finally watched this one, which is Once Upon a Time in the West. Yeah, my second Henry Fonda film of this list, and Claudia Cardinelli. I think I'm
Charles
saying that right.
Bronson.
Bronson, Jason Robards, just beating
Jason
out.
Robards.
Yeah, beating out 12 Angry Men and Pan's Labyrinth is a feat, and I loved those movies. But this was just an experience that, yes, Mr. Dan, I've seen Casablanca. It was just an experience. I sat down. It was a late night on a Saturday night, and I just sat down, and just allowed this movie to just sort of wash over me for 2.75 hours. It was just amazing. The cinematography, the score, just the performances, and the storyline. Just I had no idea where it was going. I had no clue what was happening. Let me rephrase that. I had an idea what was happening, but it was, I had no idea where it was going to go.
Right.
And that movie was as close to perfect as any movie I've ever seen.
Yep.
I can only think of one bad scene in that movie, and that's the Henry Fonda lovemaking scene, which I would have edited out. But that's the only bad scene in that entire movie.
I thought that was pivotal too, because you don't see Henry Fonda in that way.
No,
I mean, like he was always the good guy in every movie.
Right.
And just to see him as such a bad dude in that movie, and
yeah,
I thought I didn't mind that,
No, I didn't need to see that.
He didn't need to see Henry Fonda having sex.
Yeah,
Right.
I got the point that he was a bad dude.
Okay. Well, Daddy, how did Jane get here?
Peter.
Yeah, Peter.
But
but Sean, I mean, the first 10 minutes, that's just
that opening
perfect.
scene, holy shit. When you sit down and watch that, and that opening scene just grabs you, and the first 10 minutes of that movie are fucking amazing. So
Sergio Leone, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. Just amazing. And I started watching it with what was it on? I think it was on Pluto TV. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to watch this. And it had commercials. And I said, fuck this. I'm turning this off. I'm going to go grab my Blu-ray and pop it in, because I had it on Blu-ray. And I just sat there and just watched it. No commercials, nothing. And it was fantastic. So it was amazing.
Yeah, well, it was funny because I had just bought the Blu-ray. I had seen it before because I watched it with my uncle, as a matter of fact,
Mhm.
one I always talk about. I watched it with him, and I had been wanting to get because they had like the DVD, and I'm like, nah, I want to get a Blu-ray of it. And just as I got the damn Blu-ray, the 4K came out, and I asked Mike, our buddy Mike, if there was a big difference between the 4K and the Blu-ray, and he said, if you got the Blu-ray, he said you're fine with that. Don't bother upgrading because the picture is like really perfect.
Yep.
So I just I love that. That's like one of my favorite. That's like I always have a problem. I can go either way with that and Unforgiven as one too.
Yeah.
With my westerns.
Yeah, I love Unforgiven. That's probably that is my favorite Western of all time. But this got some serious competition now, I'll tell you. That's an amazing movie.
I'm glad you watched that. That's an experience too.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
So good.
Fantastic movie. I can't say enough good things about it.
All right. My number one is a movie I just watched and I raved about it. It's called Kill the Irishman.
Nice.
Wow.
With Ray Ferguson. I was totally blown away. Somebody had recommended it. I don't really remember what channel it was. It might have been Neil. Something tells me it was an English guy. So it was either Neil, Alan, or Stuart. And I watched it. I I could not take my eyes off, and I found out afterwards the poor guy that played Danny Green,
Mm,
because I messaged Sean. I'm like, "Did you hear about this movie?" And I loved the movie. I was just totally blown away by it,
mm,
and I like the fact that in the movie the producer was like and director was insistent on using real clips that happened in Cleveland from the news. They didn't
mm.
use any actors in it. So the people that were there were actually reporting on that when it happened. So
Yep.
I thought that was a really cool piece of just art to do. And I really could not believe that he wasn't nominated for any awards. That was a 2011 movie. I
Yeah.
was totally blown away.
Yeah,
So,
he's somewhat Danny Green is somewhat of a hero, anti-hero, whatever you want to call it, here in Cleveland. And I told you I drive by the site.
yeah, the
I did-
bombings.
yeah, I drove by there today on the way to the hospital and back. So I didn't
Wow.
get to see it on the way back because it was a snowstorm. But as we were driving to the hospital, I said, "Yep, I got to tell Kenny I drove by there today." So
Yeah.
it's funny that you picked that movie as your number one first time
Yeah.
watch because where that bomb went off. And Lori told me she actually saw her dad actually saw the explosion when it went off.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
He was driving by. So yeah. So
Yeah, Kill the Irishman. It's on Tubi. So
Yep.
if you guys haven't seen it, please watch that movie. It's very good.
Cool. Okay, my number one first time watch for this year is a Netflix movie, but my second bootleg, and I discussed this on our action episode as well. It is a movie from Indonesia, I believe, but it's The Night Comes for Us with Joe Taslim and Iko Uwais from the Raid movies.
yes.
It's one of the most violent, bloody, action-packed, action martial arts movies I've ever seen in my life. Not for anybody who is squeamish, but if you can handle a lot of blood, I mean, there's more blood in this movie than a couple of the Friday the 13th movies. I mean, it's just unbelievably violent, but my God, is it entertaining. So yeah, my number one, The Night Comes for Us.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. I know that made my list of stuff that I wrote down from that movie or that show. So I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, though. All right. Let's go back to the best
Number
of
one.
2024.
You're the
Number
best
one movie.
around.
All right, my number one for 2024, continuing my female-dominated list, is The Substance with Demi
Nice.
Moore and Margaret Qualley and Dennis Quaid, and also directed by a woman, Coralie Farge, I believe is how you pronounce her name. She did Revenge from 2017,
Yes.
which I have not seen, but I have heard highly recommended.
Excellent movie.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And it said if
Yeah.
you like The Substance, you definitely want to see Revenge.
Yeah, Revenge.
And
Revenge kicks ass.
This is another movie that was marketed as horror, but it's again so much more than that. But it's definitely, if it's going to be horror, it's going to be body horror, and that's a subgenre of horror that I really do not.
I love it.
It's not my favorite, but this is so surprisingly inventive and intelligent, and frankly hilarious in certain ways that you wouldn't expect. And I used a word for it when I wrote my little review of it for it on Letterboxd. I called it ghastly, which is a word I do not use very often, but it perfectly fits this movie. I really couldn't help but love it. Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, they give phenomenal and really brave performances. I know Demi Moore, she won a Golden Globe just recently. Totally deserving of it as far as I'm concerned. And the director, she was perfect for this movie. She got really uncomfortably close to a really uncomfortable subject matter. And the last 30 minutes of this movie are probably some of the most bizarre shit I've ever seen committed to film. But it totally made sense in the context of the movie. So it didn't take me out of it at all. And it's 2 hours and 25 minutes. I think it is. It went by like 35 minutes.
Wow, really?
It was like that. And I blinked and it was over. And I was like, holy shit. And this totally stuck with me. Just an amazing movie. And I think I know what your number one is, Jim. And I did see it.
Mhm.
Talk about it as soon as you pick yours, if it's the one I'm thinking it is.
Okay.
But I thought it was going to challenge it. But
All right. And obviously it didn't. So
it didn't.
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I really want to see The Substance. I have a feeling that one's going to end up being my number one when it's all said and done. If I like it as much as I think I'm going to, but I haven't seen it yet, and that's coming out on the 21st on Blue, and I've got it pre-ordered. I'm getting it day one, and I will be watching that one immediately. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's totally one of those movies that I totally, again, went in totally blind. I knew roughly what the idea was.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't know the plot, and just the way it unfolds, man, it grabs you and does not let go for 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah, like I said, everything I've heard about it, it reminds me of a Cronenberg movie that he didn't direct. And I absolutely love Cronenberg. And I know a lot of people don't, which is fine. It's, some people like Body Horror, some people don't,
Cronenberg is a director that I love, hate. When I like his movies, I love them. When I hate his movies, I hate them.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I could see that. It's really, really good. Just really, really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, Kenneth.
All right, my number one movie. You guys both brought this up in yours, and it's Furiosa. I love the movie. Sean had told me about it the day he came home from the movies to see it, and he said how good it was. And we had a hookup on Whatnot, and I ordered it from Mr. Alf on there. And as soon as I got it, I texted Sean and I said, "This movie was so good. You did not understate, what you were." And I just adored the girl. The little girl in the first part, because I told Sean when I first seen it, it kind of played out like From Dusk Till Dawn with me personally.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like two movies. When Anya Joy Taylor came in the second half, and I even told Sean, because he said, "Oh yeah, did you like that Hemsworth guy?" I'm like, "Who?" And he goes, "I swear," and I told Sean this, I thought it was Liev Schreiber.
What?
I did. I thought it was Liev Schreiber because I didn't know anything about this movie except for the title. Like I didn't know. I took Sean's, Sean's opinion of it, and I just went with it. And I watched it. I watched it twice that weekend. That the night that I got it, and then the next day because I really liked it.
Yeah.
And that was the bet. It was between that totally blew me away. That it was between that and Civil War. It was 1-2 for me.
Yeah.
Nice.
And those were two Sean recommendations. So
Sean did good this year.
He did very good. And I haven't seen The Substance, and I didn't see the one that you're going to talk about either. So, but we
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. So, yeah. So Furiosa, I've watched that. I'm not kidding you, 5 times already. If there's nothing else on, I'll just pop it in. I have it right on top of my 4K player, thanks to Sean.
Nice.
Awesome.
So,
all
right, Jim.
My number one film of 2024 is Moana 2. I loved it. I thought it was fucking awesome. No. My number one movie was Strange Darling, written and directed by J.T. Molnar, and starring in 2 of the best performances I've seen this year. Kyle Gallner is the demon, but especially Willa Fitzgerald as the lady. She's the star of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, I love this movie. I went in blind. The only thing I knew about this movie going in, other than the general plot, was that it was a serial killer movie. Was that Giovanni Ribisi, the actor, was the director of photography.
Yep.
And I was like, really? I didn't even know he knew how a camera worked. And he did a podcast with Joe Dante and Josh Olson called The Movies That Made Me. And he was promoting the movie. And them discussing the movie, all they kept on saying was, well, we can't talk about the movie because we'll give it away. And part of this movie, loving this movie, is going in blind. So we don't want to say too much and this and that. And it was like, that intrigued me.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other thing I knew about the movie was that it was not told in a linear fashion.
Yep.
That it was like Pulp Fiction, where it's told in different chapters and the chapters are out of order. And I don't have a problem with that. So other than that, I didn't know anything about this movie. And that's as far as I'm going to go as far as spoilers go.
Yep.
Because I don't want to give up anything more than that. Because whether you like this movie or not, the surprises along the way and the performances and the camera work and the writing, there's some lines of dialogue that come out of nowhere that are just hysterically funny in a situation that is not funny at all. And I just was thoroughly entertained for an hour and 45 minutes. It flew by. Like you said, it felt like it was on for about a half an hour and it was over. And I loved it. I cannot wait to watch it again. The only reason why I'm not holding it up right now is because my sister borrowed it because I raved to her about how much I loved it. So Strange Darling, without a doubt, is number one for me this year.
Yep. I picked it up on your recommendation and I watched it the other day. I'm not going to say anything either, but the fact when it started and the title card came up and it said a story told in 6 chapters or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the first thing it says is chapter 3. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. You know, and I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those. And then as it went on, I'm like, oh, now I see why I did it that way. That's amazing. And that's all I'm going to say.
That's part of the fun because that movie, if they would have told it in a linear fashion, it'd still be a good movie. It'd still be a quality movie. It wouldn't be as much fun.
No.
It would not be as much fun.
Nope.
So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. Yeah. It just missed my top 5. I will say that.
Yeah.
It just missed it.
It is so much fun. I cannot wait to watch it again.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Definitely. Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about that the entire time. I'm like, I have a funny feeling that's going to be Jim's number 1 movie, and I can see why.
Yeah, she is. I mean, they're both great. But Willa Fitzgerald, like I said, I've never seen either one of them before, and she is phenomenal in that movie. I mean, the whole time I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait to see what else this woman is in because she, like I said, she was a powerhouse in that movie.
Yeah.
She reminded me of I felt the same way when I saw what the hell is her name? Samara Weaving in Mayhem. You know, she's in Ready or Not as well, which she's great in Ready or Not. But the first time I saw her in Mayhem, I was like, holy shit, who is this woman? She is phenomenal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those movies that I wish we could talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to talk about it, but it's like, you can't.
Yeah,
we should, especially if Kenny hasn't seen it or anybody in the
No, I
chat.
haven't.
It's just,
I came close to buying that and then The Substance from our talk, and I was like, you know what, I'll get it. And then The Substance went up to $25 today, so it's like,
oh, it did.
It went.
Wasn't
up.
it selling for like 17 the other day?
Yeah, see, I pre-ordered it on
Amazon.
I pre-ordered it on Amazon a couple of days ago, and it was $16, and it was a price guarantee for that. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking at $17 with tax.
Yeah, I literally had it. I literally had it in my cart. I had both of them on it. And I'm like, and then I seen 2 other ones that stinking loser Mr. Dan recommended. So
Hey, you be
So,
nice to the audience, Kenny.
I love Mr. Dan. He's great. But I like he recommended these two movies, and I went on that damn eBay at like 2:00 in the morning, and so I got that coming in. So it's like I didn't want to order like about 20. There's like about 20 movies like out there now, because I was going to ask you if that Substance was streaming somewhere.
Not yet.
Well, it is, but
I know it's a movie, but I don't
right,
even
you could
know
rent
what
it,
a
but
movie
yeah,
is.
Yeah, it's a video rental right now. But
yeah,
it's not
that's how I
streaming.
saw it.
So either one of them, you can't. It's not on streaming services yet.
Not for like a free part of it.
No,
I don't think.
so. Let me check out.
Yeah, because the other one is still like $17.
Yeah, Strange Darling I picked up last week off of eBay for like or 2 weeks ago rather, for like I think it was $16.
Yeah, it's $17.99 now on
Yeah.
on the eBay. But then Mr. Dan brought up two more movies. He's going to put me in a poorhouse, that man. Walden, The Twilight of the Warriors, he brought up, and then he brought up on a couple other ones. I'll give you a shout out, Mr. Dan. I love you, buddy. The Man from Nowhere.
Oh yeah. I've seen that one.
Oh, okay, so those were the
Kenny.
two. Yes, sir.
It's on Mubi. You can get a 7-day free trial.
You know what? Thank you, Texas. I'm going to do that like right after the show. I swear to God, because I can't. Man, I had him in my cart, with a bag of peanuts. The Amazon fresh peanuts
Yeah.
as a snack. So I had them in there, and I'm like, oh, you know what? To be streaming. Then I watched Mr. Dan's video, and I'm like, I found those two damn movies on eBay, and I bought them, and I'm like, oh man. All right. So thank you, Texas.
Just to clarify, that's the Substance, though. I don't think Strange Darling is on Mubi.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's the Substance.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, but if you can see it for free, do it.
Yeah, I will. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a
Texas
good
is the
tip.
man.
Thank you, Texas. There you go. That's what we love about our viewers. Thank you very much.
Yes. All right. Now my pick of the week
All righty.
is a movie called The Super with Joe Pesci. I seen it from 1991. See, I have props. So this is from 1991. This is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I went with a girlfriend to go see this movie, and happened to be our last date. But because I was laughing too hard for it. But when he keeps on, he's basically hurts these like slum buildings. Okay. And he keeps on going up to this hot girl. And he goes, and like, and Joe Pesci's like 5 foot tall, and she's like 5'10", and he keeps on trying jump up and stuff. So he befriends this little black kid that sits on the stoop and stuff, and he goes, "Hey," and it's very like derogatory, the language they use in that movie with it, but it's pretty funny. It's from 1991. I love this movie. So, and my buddy Sean from not Sean's here. Brian, the horror punk. He sent this to me because I had been looking for it, and he found it for me. So, thanks again, Brian. I did watch this the day after, and I laughed my ass off. And to that girl, I don't care. So I enjoyed that movie. So, The Super.
I just like the way you introduced that. Yeah, I went to see this with the girl and ended up being.
Oh, I was laughing so hard, and she just like she got up to go to the bathroom a couple times, and I think she was like saying, can I, get a ride home from somebody or something like that. It was like I wasn't being obnoxious about it. It was just like when I laugh, and I just like have tears running down my face, So it's just like I guess she, I don't know whatever happened to her, But thank you, Akers. I hope you enjoyed that. So, all right,
Okay.
Tim, you're up, dude.
Okay. Last week, January 7th, marked the 5-year anniversary that my hero and idol and just an all-around incredible human being, Neil Peart, passed away. And I was thinking about that, so I wanted to suggest this week an incredible documentary called Rush, Beyond the Lighted Stage. This came out in 2010, and it basically covers the history of the band from the time that Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson were children when they first met. They were in grammar school when they first met. They got pictures of them back then. and follows their rise up until the Snakes and Arrows tour, which was the second to the last tour that Rush completed before they disbanded and Neil passed away. Even if you don't like the band Rush, or you don't like rock and roll music or whatever, it's an incredible documentary. It's incredibly entertaining. More or less what this movie's about is just about 3 guys that have an incredible friendship that lasted 40 years. And how much their music inspired so many people, including me. So my recommendation, Rush, Beyond the Lighted Stage.
You know, just I watched an episode, I think it was on 60 Minutes, and it was the guy from REM. Okay?
Michael Stipe?
Yeah, Michael Stipe. And those guys were still close. You know, they never had an argument, nothing like that. And Michael Stipe said, it's funny that you brought that up. Well, that's why I'm bringing it up. It was like he talked to Geddy Lee, and he said he had been friends with Alex since they were kids. Yeah. And he said there wasn't a time the whole time that when we got famous and stuff that our 3 egos clashed. It was just the 3 of us were going to do it, and we were going to be famous, and you know that's what it was. And he said in all those years that we known each other for 40 50 plus years, they never had one argument.
Yeah, I mean, there's moments in the movie where it shows, that their whole thing was because it was 3 guys. It would have been real easy for 2 to gang up on 1.
Yeah.
And they never allowed that to happen. They said if it was not unanimous, they wouldn't do it. And that was the rule that they stuck to from the beginning throughout their entire career. Not too many bands could do that.
No.
Right.
Or have done that. There's always egos or something. I want to do a solo album. I want to do a movie soundtrack. I want to do a video. These guys, they were on the same page throughout. And at the end of the day, like I said, it wasn't about fame. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about this. It was about the music. And it was about the friendship that the 3 of them had and the integrity that they had in putting out the music. The coolest thing about this documentary, outside of the behind the scenes footage, which is always fascinating to me, is seeing these other artists talking about the inspiration that they got from Rush. And some of the people that are on there you would expect to see, okay, but then there's other artists that you don't, and it's like, wow, you're a Rush fan? Wow, you were inspired by. My favorite thing in the whole movie, Vinny Paul from Pantera, the drummer, rest in peace. He was a fantastic heavy metal drummer. But he was talking about when he was a kid that him and his other friends that played drums, they would use Rush as like how you would measure other drums or other drummers. And the quote that always got me was like, yeah, I can play YYZ, but can you play La Via Strangiato? And if you're a Rush fan, you know what that means, okay? Because Rush's music was so complex and so on a different level than most bands, but it was easy to listen to. It wasn't so complicated that you couldn't just bang your head and jam right along to it. So yeah. So all right, I could talk about Rush all night long. So I'm going to shut up. Go ahead, Sean.
Akers wants to know what your favorite Rush songs are.
Oh God, again, I could talk forever. I'll tell you what, the song that has really grown on me a lot in the last couple of years, especially since Neil has passed, 2 songs off the Clockwork Angels album, which was the final studio album that they did. One is called Headlong Flight, which is Jesus Christ, you would think that they were like 20 years old when they recorded that song because it's a headbanger. It might be the hardest rocking song that they ever recorded. And the final song that they ever recorded, it's the last song off the last album. It's called The Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an absolutely beautiful piece of music.
It's a great song.
So
it's a great song.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. I love Rush. So I believe it or not, I only got to see them twice, and I saw the Clockwork Angels tour and the film, the one concert that was filmed for their last.
It was the Time Machine tour, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, whatever the one in the Live in Cleveland DVD is.
Yeah, Time Machine.
Yeah, Time Machine tour. Yeah, I was at that show. So
the two tours I didn't get to see. I saw every tour from Signals up until those two tours.
Oh, geez. But yeah, I'm very glad I finally got to see him. I've always wanted to see him. So yeah, amazing. So, and I've seen that movie. That movie is amazing too.
I saw that movie theatrically.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, they
awesome.
released it theatrically for one night before they released the physical release. And oh my God, that theater was just packed with Rush fans, and it was such a fun time.
I bet. I got to see the Time Machine tour live in Cleveland theatrically. They played it at the Cedar Lee in Cleveland just before it came out on physical media, and I got to see it. I got to see it with the person I went to the concert with in the theater. So it was pretty awesome. It was amazing. So I got to see it. I got to see the same concert twice, which was awesome.
Cool.
All right, let's detour back into movies and recommendations. And I'm the only one who hasn't given a recommendation. And I had to think a little bit because I didn't have one planned because of the day. But I just came up with one, and I actually watched it a couple of weeks ago, and that is Heretic with Hugh Grant. It came out late last year. It is not out on home video yet. It is available for rental. I did rent it, but Hugh Grant plays a man who is visited by two, I believe they are Mormon.
I was going to say they're Mormons, aren't they?
Yeah, they're Mormons, and they're trying to convert people. So they knock on his door, and they're not allowed in the house unless they're not allowed in the house of a single male unless there's somebody else home with him or his wife is there. And he says, "Oh yeah, my wife's here. She's baking a pie. You can come on in." And he leads them on this sort of game of question and answer, and I won't say too much more about it. But it's a horror film. It's kind of I don't want to say it's a cat and mouse game, but it's kind of thought provoking. It's not a movie I think I would watch multiple times, but it is interesting, and it had me going, and I didn't know where it was going. And it was a lot of fun, and it kind of gets you thinking. It's thought provoking. The Hugh Grant character was my favorite part of it, and he makes some points that I thought were really interesting. So, I'm gonna my recommendation is Heretic from 2024.
Nice,
interesting.
So I don't know when it comes out on home video. I believe it is an A24 film, if I am not mistaken. So.
Okay. Are you guys freezing up, or is it me? Seems like the feed keeps freezing up.
I've noticed that the stream has been bouncing a little bit. Not you, Kenny, because I noticed your camera's bouncing. But it's been a little rocky for the last 10 minutes. I've been freezing a little bit. So, but yeah, that's my recommendation.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard Ralph Fiennes is amazing in that movie.
Which movie?
The Heretic. Ralph
Fiennes. Oh,
Fiennes.
He's not in that one.
Or no, Hugh Grant. I'm sorry, Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard of Hugh Grant's amazing. Ralph Fiennes is in the other Conclave or whatever.
Conclave. Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah. I've heard good things about that.
I got those two titles mixed up, but yeah, Hugh Grant. I heard he's really quite creepy in that movie.
Yeah, he's amazing, and he plays
Texas
the
said I'm
role very well.
asleep.
Yeah, you look like you dozed off there, Kenny.
No, I didn't. I had my phone and I was like looking up the movie that you were talking about because I had never
Okay.
heard of it before.
Yeah, it was released theatrically. I don't know how well it did, or if it did well or poorly, or if it
I
was
have it pulled up
reviewed
right now.
well.
Yeah, you guys are both
it's-
freezing up.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just,
Yeah.
like I
It's
said, I
made
didn't know if it was the streamer.
It
Me.
made $51 million
Oh, okay.
worldwide. I'd never heard of that before. I'm sorry, Texas. That's what I was doing. I was looking down at my computer because it's got a 7 on IMDb.
Okay. Yeah.
7 out of 10.
Check it out. It's, I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. So it's not, top tier, but it was interesting. Some of the movies that I recommend on here aren't movies that necessarily are, my 5-star picks, but they're movies that I think you should check out. They're worth seeing at least once.
Yeah, I got you on that because I like to do that too. Because those people work hard on those movies.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I saw another movie that I was thinking of recommending, but it wasn't quite good. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
we'll throw it out there.
Yeah,
Crawl Space.
You guys are both frozen up. I can't hear or see either one of you at this point.
Oh man,
Oh.
that sucks because I can hear you and see you clearly.
Yeah, I can.
Hello, my darling. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime girl. Okay, there you go. See, I just needed to break you loose.
So Jim? He had recommended Crawl Space. Is that the Klaus Kinski movie?
No,
Yeah,
it's Crawl Spaces with Henry Thomas, and
okay.
I'm not recommending it. I thought about recommending it, but it as I was watching it, I thought, oh, this might be a good recommendation for the show, but the movie went down the toilet.
Oh, okay.
But it's really not that great of a movie, but it's an interesting movie, and I would recommend it if you really are desperate for something to watch. But it's interesting to see the kid from E.T. play a plumber who gets involved in a sort of a criminal misadventure, but it's so poorly written that it's sort of ludicrous. So if you want to put yourself through that, go ahead. But yeah, it really not a good movie.
Well, he kind of shocked me when he was in that. He was in that Pet Sematary one with David Duchovny. He played the father in that.
Oh, really?
Henry Thomas. Yeah.
Is it the Bloodlines one?
Yeah, the new Pet Cemetery one
Yeah.
that came out.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I got that from Mr. Ralph too, so it was cheap. So it was like I actually thought that was a good movie though. I enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So a lot of people were like, "Oh,
I
it's
am
crap."
only picking up 1 out of every 4 words from both of you guys.
Oh,
I
Jim.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, that's probably a hint that we should probably log off for the night.
Texas.
Texas has a recommendation. The Front Room. It's not anything special, but the crazy old lady is great. All right.
Okay.
I'll check it out.
I'll watch that.
All
And
right.
thanks for the recommendation on movie.
Thanks,
too,
Texas. All right. Well, since Jim can't hear anything we say, we can talk about Jim for the next 15 minutes. Or no, I'm just
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody that stuck with us tonight, and apologize for the late start. We did run. We're running a little short tonight, but I really got to take a break, guys. I ate once today.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for an excellent show, guys. It was really entertaining, and got a lot of good picks. And you guys got a lot of insight in the fact that being a movie fan doesn't necessarily mean that I've seen much of anything. So
that's incredible. We have to do this again next year because I look forward to this. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt guilty about picking movies that are only a couple of years old. I mean, you had some. Those were some great ones.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I have a lot of holes in my filmography or whatever you want to call it, or my
Yeah,
I
because
don't
you
know.
haven't watched a lot of the Pixar movies either. Like a
I've
lot of
seen
Disney.
most of
Oh, okay.
them.
I thought there was like a lot of Disney movies.
The Disney, the
Oh,
straight
okay.
up Disney movies, I haven't seen a lot of. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the Disney movies. My parents didn't take me to see Disney movies when I was a kid, and I didn't see them as an adult either. So, yeah. So you might see Pinocchio on my list next year. So or this year. So who knows?
That'll be
But
fun.
yeah, Dan, if Mr. Dan, if you are looking for a place to do that, if you're going to keep track of movies that you watched this year, I highly recommend Letterboxd.
Letterbox, Dan, and let
Yeah,
us know what your password is because we can all follow you on there too.
yeah.
Uh,
Um,
I wasn't going to do this, but since Dan is here, I'm going to go ahead and plug my next episode of Shooting the Shit on my channel.
oh yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
yeah,
On
plug.
the 25th, Mr. Dan in Horror will be my second special guest ever on that
Awesome.
show. So anybody who didn't catch the live stream, that announcement, I asked Mr. Dan if he would be so kind as to join me on the second episode, and he agreed. So that will be on the 25th at 1 o'clock Central Time. So I hope you
Awesome.
guys will join us and everybody else.
I will actually. Whoops. I'm gonna throw up Letterboxd on the screen here real quick. I just want to show
Yeah,
what it is.
and
Just
Dan,
if
if you
you
need
have.
any help with that, just let me know because I am on that. Here's mine. It has Uncle Buck, my favorite movie, on there, and then it gives you can pick 4 of your favorite movies, and then it just will go and just basically you type in the movie, you can give it 1 to 5 rating, and then you can give a little brief synopsis if you want. There you go.
It's Letterboxd letterboxd.com. Like here's my profile. Here's my top 4: Jaws, Star Wars being there in the 9th configuration. These are the last 4 movies I've seen. As you can see, Crawl Space got 2
Strange
stars.
Darling.
Strange Darling, 4 stars. And I watched the Abysmal Carry On Netflix. And I'm a horrible. I wonder why I haven't seen things like Once Upon a Time in the West, because I watch shit like The Unwanted Sasquatch. That's the shit I watch. But yeah, it keeps a diary of everything you watch. And I've been on this site for 10 years, so I've got just.
I'm just reading your movies here.
Yeah.
Happy Scrappy Hero Pup.
My last 4 movies are 2 pieces of shit called Almost Invisible, Devoured, Getaway. It's a new movie with Nick Frost that I was looking forward to on Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
Completely awful, and a really good crocodile movie called Saltwater.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that one.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
But one of the things that I like about it, because I'm a stats geek, is it keeps stats for if it's free, it's completely free, but you can pay. There's a patron level, which is the highest, and the pro level, which is the second highest. I'm at the pro. It keeps stats for you. If you pay for it, it'll allow you to keep all kinds of stats for. So these are the highest rated films, and look how easy it was for me to keep my top 5.
I see how you did that.
Really cool. Yeah,
So,
I am not on the pro level.
Yeah, but it shows you like how many movies you watch by week. I watch 11.8 movies a month. Look at that. My diary milestones. Big Trouble in Little China was the 50th movie I watched last year. First movie I watched last year was Leave the World Behind. Most watched last year, Late Night with the Devil and Godzilla -1. So there you go.
Late Night with the Devil. I also bought when I bought the Strange Darling as a blind buy, and I like that movie, but the ending left me a little underwhelmed. I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, that was a movie that definitely improved on second watch for me. It went from like a 3-star movie to a 4-star movie for me. The
Yeah,
ending,
it's like a 3 for me right now
yeah,
because it is
yeah,
good. David DeMalshin's great in it. He really is.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The ending made more sense if you pay attention to little quirks through the movie.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's why I'm going to watch it a second time.
Yeah, it gets better with the second one.
Patrick wants me to give him my copy since I said I didn't really like it.
I'll have to watch that again because I didn't really care for it the first time. Again,
Yeah, it's worth a second watch, and if you can, Kenny, and if it's still available, I don't. Do you still have Shudder?
yeah.
Yeah, watch the episode with what's his face, Jim Bob, Joe Bob, because David, what's his last name, Jim? Demalshin. He's on there as a guest, and he shares a few behind the scenes stories. And they talk about the movie quite a bit. So having that too as part of the experience of watching it the second time really helped me improve my experience of watching it. So
I have AMC Plus. That's how I could.
Yeah.
I like the IFC movies. So
yeah.
That's how I got That's how I get Shudder. But I did have Shudder for years just by itself because of Joe Bob. I love watching Joe Bob.
Yeah, Joe Bob is fantastic.
Yeah.
Alrighty. All right, guys. So we are now over the 2-hour mark.
Good. Looks like we made it. I didn't have a cigarette, boys.
Oh,
hey, good job.
I did not go out in the freezer box for a cigarette. That's pretty good for me.
That's great. Good job.
See, we're gonna work on
your
health.
Still on my vape, but
yeah, well,
it's okay.
So we got our testimonial from Texas. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Texas.
Thanks for everybody else who were watching on the.
Thank you, Mr. Dan.
Real also quickly, since Texas was in the chat, Texas is going to be doing a live watch along party tomorrow with the movie Cuckoo.
Oh,
and for the first time, it's something that he hasn't seen as well. So it's going to be like a blind watch along with everyone.
I might be on that stream because I've never seen it.
Texas, if you're still on there, let me know. Is that 9:00 or 9:15 tomorrow, buddy?
I know you just bought that, right, Sean?
Yeah, I watched it for part of the Halloween 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I liked it, but I didn't love it. But it was really interesting.
You can go on Texas's channel,
9:15, Jim.
HXCX 1965, and I'm sure he's got it posted. 9:15, you said?
9:15.
Yeah, 9:15.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to try to join that live chat on the stream with him for a little while. So yeah, if you guys want to come along and join in the chat, that would be great.
Oh, it's on Hulu.
Cool.
You're welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
And that's 9:15 Central?
Yes.
Or Eastern.
Or Eastern time, rather. Or
Eastern time.
He could tell you.
Texas? Is that 9:15 Central or Eastern? All right, we'll figure it out. But check out Texas's channel tomorrow night for that live stream of Cuckoo. Thanks for everybody for watching us live tonight. And again, apologies for being late. It won't happen again. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a subject we have not determined yet. And Central,
where do babies come from?
Congratulations, Sarah, on your 900.
Congratulations, Sarah, 900 subscribers.
Congratulations, Sarah.
All right. And in a solemn moment, we want to wish everybody who's out in LA the best, and go to redcross.org, make a donation. Every dollar counts. So
absolutely.
Definitely do that if you can. Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking. There's a lot of people have been affected, a lot of animals have been affected. But even if you don't care about that for whatever reason, and all you care about is movies, movie history stuff has been destroyed like crazy. So
Yep.
it's been just absolutely terrible. So it's just heartbreaking reading and seeing all the stuff that's going on out there. So our thoughts are with you guys out in LA. So definitely, if you've got an extra buck or two, send it to the Red Cross.
Absolutely.
All right. So we will be out for tonight. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for watching. Thanks for your support. And we love you. Take it easy.
Take care, guys.
Good night.
Go Eagles.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles.